A King County man is shot multiple times in his bed. Police fired the shots, but the man was innocent. He survived, and tonight King 5 investigator Linda Byron reports on why the shooting is facing renewed scrutiny, just as a mediation gets underway to try to avert a costly lawsuit.
The barrage of bullets fired inside this Auburn home in 2012 left Dustin Theo Harris with a shattered jaw and shoulder, fractured spine, and damage to his limbs and organs. He was shot 16 times. Then Sheriff Steve Strand defended the shooting.
Made reference to having 3 guns, and there was an interaction. The deputy and the officer felt threatened.
The team of King County deputies and a state corrections officer who'd gone into the house weren't after Theo Harris. They were there for a convicted felon who'd broken parole. But after arresting the felon, corrections officer Chris Rungan asked Detective Aaron Thompson, his face concealed in this photo because he works undercover, to help search the rest of the house for guns. We obtained the detective's recorded statement of what happened when they entered a downstairs room and found Theo Harris in bed.
He looked back and forth at Chris and Chris asked him if he had any weapons, and he said yes. Both of us were shouting at him, "Put your hands up, put your hands up, put your hands up," and he stopped and looked at us, and then he jammed his hand like he was reaching. I thought he was probably reaching in between the mattress and the box spring to get something, and that's when we started shooting.
Theo Harris didn't have any guns, just a flashlight. But together the officers fired nearly 20 rounds.
There is no higher level of threat. I thought he was going to try to kill us.
The Department of Corrections found the shooting in compliance, and a King County Firearms Review Board ruled it justified.
But we reviewed thousands of pages of documents detailing investigations by both departments, revealing problems across the operation. It was unclear who was in charge or whether the officers properly announced themselves. And despite being told that Theo Harris was in that bedroom, they failed to come up with a safe, tactical plan for entry.
Theo Harris's lawyers say the officers even lacked authority to enter his room. And Sheriff John Urquhart, who took office months after the shooting, concedes there are lingering questions.
Did they do enough before they entered the room to find out who was there, to find out if it was a third-party residence or not, to look at the history of this particular individual?
Theo Harris has no criminal record. King County's Internal Investigations Unit recommended Detective Thompson receive sustained violations for his use of authority and performance standards. But the sheriff threw out those violations.
The supervisory situation there, the other officers that were at the scene, they skated on this whole thing. Aaron Thompson was made a scapegoat, and that's not right, and that's not fair, and that's why I overturned that.
The case is far from over. King County's Office of Law Enforcement Oversight hired a heavy hitter to review it, Merrick Bobb, the same man appointed by a judge to monitor reforms in the Seattle Police Department.
I certainly support that review, absolutely.
As for Theo Harris, his attorneys say he's facing more surgeries and suffered so much damage to his arm, his days as a skilled mechanic are over. In Auburn, Linda Byron, King 5 News.
King County is paying Bob nearly $25,000 for his review, which will be presented to council members soon. Meantime, the sheriff says he's increasing training and revamping policies for how shootings are investigated. Harris's attorneys say that his shooting was totally unjustified, but they declined to be interviewed, saying that they're working with King County and the DOC to resolve the case before filing a formal lawsuit.